I had sent a message on the, I'd given a request to sir and ma'am. Have you downloaded Hibernate help, that is day 9 help? You have, right? Yeah, so we will not be starting immediately because we have certain pending things to do, but as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, we are going to start with the first project technology. Hibernate, which is a basis of your Spring Data, JPA, etc. Later. So let me ask you, have you done the revision of JSP using Java Bean? So let us start asking you the questions. And has anyone tried to complete this admin part, the show tutorial form and process? Show tutorial form, I think we are finished, but the process tutorial form, has anyone tried? I'm not getting any responses. So anyway, we'll complete. You have tried. Yes, no problem. We'll complete it today, and then only I'll take you to your Hibernate. So start answering. What are the layers which you have seen in the, I'll just open the, not written any sequence. So layers involved with JSP based, JSP2 database. Layers involved in JSP Java Bean based web application. Yeah, can you start telling me in the top-down manner, what are the layers you have? I hope you are giving me. Okay, you are giving it in this manner. Fine. No problem. Database this, yes. So if I start writing it in a top-down manner, JSP, whose methods or who can JSP manage? Is it a Java Bean or is it a DAO layer? Everyone knows answer. It is a Java Bean. And Java Bean is going to manage, it's a two-way traffic. So JSP is going to call the Java Bean method. Java Bean is going to further call the DAO layer method. So important statement. Till today is what, 9th day. I told you the first half we are going to do in JDBC. So till now, the DAO layer is based on JDBC. Later, the same application we can convert into Hibernate-based. Okay, so when you start learning today you will, of course, today will not get into that, but over time, we will be writing a web application which has Hibernate-based DAO layer. So today, till now, it is a JDBC-based DAO layer, which uses DB utils, you know the layers. Then that is for database connectivity. And then you have something like Ojo and the database. Everyone knows that, right? So if you say, what I'll do is, instead of writing it, I find it better to discuss. So you can draw parallelly if you want, or the similar drawing already you have, so you can just you can just focus on understanding. So user submits a login form. Okay, I'm just stressing the entire revision, hopefully quickly, so that we can continue to where we were. So user submits a login form. I'm revising in a top-down manner as the execution will happen. So start answering. When client submits the login form, which are the request parameters? Simple question I'm asking. You are going to send, a client is going to send, everyone knows, email and password. Okay, so this part is not, involved at all, right? So here, just a second. So here, this is your client submitting the form. So the request URL is sent. So anyone wants to tell you. So this was your login.jsp downloaded. So now start answering. So this will be submitted to which page? Guys, I don't want anything memory based. So please open parallelly D8 Lab CMS. And this is hopefully a quick revision, as I said. So login form was submitted. So keep this in front of you. Sorry, I forgot to say some things. So we'll take care of this also. Has everyone opened login.jsp? So that login.jsp itself has some important things. So I'm talking about today, yet we have not created your, what is that, tutorial bean. We'll create that slowly, shortly. So I should rewind actually. Just a second. So let me just do this. Okay, because this is the second request. So understand me correctly. Here, client sends the first request. So I don't know whether I'm clear or not. So what is that first request? HTTP, some host, currently local host and 8080 but it can be anything. Suppose your website context path is /CMS. So this is the first request coming. So please continue responding in a fast manner. So anyone wants to tell me which will be the, so this is the RQ1. So what will be sent in the response? Okay, or rather you can say this, that this request is sent from the client to browser, which is the page which will be responding to it. Simple question, simple answer. Which is the welcome page, which we have written login form. Okay, don't say login form because it contains more. So here, the first thing which will be executed is login.jsp. I told you, keep that code in front of you and I'm going to do the revision, hoping that this will help you a lot. So now here you have created, I'm talking in line numbers. Which line number? Line number 10. I am not referring to yours. I'm referring to my line numbers. So anyone wants to tell me, when I say JSP colon use bean, verbally, of course, ID is equal to anything. Let's say user class, which is nothing but your fully qualified class name, beanstalk, user bean. And here something like scope. Okay. So start answering. When you write this, what will container do? This we are going to do verbally because already I've explained. Yes. So container has to first check bean is nothing but an attribute. So whether the same attribute already exists in the session scope. So session.getAttribute user. But if it is the first request coming from a particular client, what will it happen? I mean, will it find the bean or will it not find the bean? It won't find the bean, so it returns null. So in that case, what will container do? If it doesn't find the bean as in returns null, what will container do? Just return from the DAC? No, absolutely correct. So what it will do is create the bean instance. Bean is nothing but what? Attribute, and add it in the this session scope. Why session scope? Because you asked for it. So can you tell me that line? I mean, tell me what will container call? I'll write it here as an help. So internally it invokes session dot get attribute or set attribute, set attribute. Okay. And what is the attribute name it will use? Whatever you have supplied as a bean ID becomes the attribute name. And what is the attribute value? Nothing but a bean instance. And as we said multiple times, since it is a web container created bean, we are not creating it, right? So all it can use is a default constructor. Are we 100% clear on JSP colon use bean? Nothing but creates a bean instance. But understand that now after that, for any request coming from the same client, if you write JSP colon use bean, once in login, once in validate, once in that show form, once in that process form, the same bean instance, same attribute will be shared across multiple requests coming from the same client because you set the session scope. Okay. And likewise, we have also created the other, and now I'm writing in short form, the other bean was topic. So same thing will happen. So how many attributes after executing these two lines, JSP colon use bean, user and use bean topic, how many attributes will be created in that inner map of HTTP session? How many key and value pairs would be there in the inner map? 2. So answer next question. You open that topic tutorial case study and tell me, are you also going to require tutorial DAO in your case, in our case study? tutorial DAO is going to be required or not. So who should manage tutorial DAO? Servlet, JSP or Java Bean? Yeah, Java Bean. Which Java Bean? User Bean, Topic Bean, or better to create a separate tutorial bean? See, anytime you can combine. So it is better. We'll start with that. If it finds too difficult for your understanding, I can combine it into as a topic tutorial bean. But let us have a separate one. So here we will also have use bean, and we will create in couple of minutes. When I come to the code, you can add that. It's just a copy paste. So now tell me, if I have called use bean, user, topic, and tutorial, how many attributes, how many key and value pairs exist in my internal map, innermost map? 3. Everyone is super clear here. So this is what we do in the login page itself. So then whether you take off to that customer flow or whether you go to the admin flow, you end up sharing all these beans. Clear completely? So this was the main thing. I mean, I wanted to discuss. So I just, what do you say, rewound this. And now you have this to, what is it called? You have this to solve. So when you come to the form for the first time, okay, anyway, as a revision, this is a revision. So anyone wants to tell me there is already an answer. When I say session scope, is it representing HTTP session or is it representing map of session scope attributes? Tell me, session scope represents what? Map of session scope attributes, which is held inside the HTTP session object. Okay, so to say it correctly, HTTP session holds internally, that's why that memory picture, internally the session scope map. Okay, so now anyone wants to tell me, currently, okay, let me not say anything. So when the client has sent the first request, where is my code? So session.getAttributeUser will return you user bean reference. But when I say get error message, what it will return for the first time? Null or not null? Answer fast. It will return you null. And how will your EL, how will that null get displayed? How will EL represent null? Will it print a null pointer exception, null or blank? Or blank. Okay, so we are safe. So now you can say, so after doing this, there is no error message. Are you understanding the thing? So error message is like null, interpreted or displayed as blank. And after that, a form, a login form, like I said, a login form sent to the client. So this finishes first request response loop. Are you all understanding this? Okay. Oh, there's a spelling mistake. You can excuse that. Is the so you can see that this request and this response. So what did the response consist of? Response contained that login form. 100% clear? RQ1 and RS1. Request to the home page, welcome page, response content, login form. Yes or no? Quickly. I'm tracing the whole flow for you. So respond faster. Okay. So now I can take that user submits the login form. So this is nothing but your RQ2. Got me here? And what are the two request parameters which are added in the request body because it is a method equal to post, email and a password. Good. So guys, parallelly do work also. So, we will not waste morning time at all. So I'll tell you what to do. Copy day 8 lab CMS into day 9.1 and you can do it parallelly, I'm sure. Create on your own a tutorial bean. We are doing it. I'm just giving you instructions and let that tutorial bean just have the tutorial DAO as the startup. Understood what I said? I showed you in the figure. We require the tutorial bean. Tutorial bean is going to manage the tutorial DAO. So keep the tutorial bean ready. Understood the instructions? Yes or no, something? Not clear? Okay, do it with me then. I thought it was an easy one to understand. Clear. Okay, so start working with me. So, it won't be boring just talking about it. We'll be doing something also. So day 8 lab CMS, copy into day 9.1. First thing you do is change the context root web project settings to day 9.1. Okay. Just confirm once whether you have got that tutorial DAO. So I have already given tutorial DAO implementation. We have to add a method there. Which method has to be added for the admin role? I said which method we will have to add in the tutorial DAO for admin flow. I'm talking in DAO layer. I'm just checking whether you are alert or not. Absolutely correct, Abhijit. Insert, or I can say add new tutorial. Absolutely. So that we have to do. So we will do it over time. So what I'll do is, I mean, since we talked about it anyway, I tutorial DAO, you can add that. And here, this is tutorial DAO, right? Yeah. Add new tutorial. Always you should build it in a bottoms up manner. And anything which you say, typically I'm saying DMLs, you can have string added new tutorial or something. So add new tutorial. That is insert details. And anyone wants to tell me what is the argument you want to add here? This is your DAO layer method. I have not yet come to the bean. Of course, tutorial. Yes. So it will be tutorial contains, right? So tutorial. And since it is a checked exception, compiler forces the handling of the checked exception to the callers, I mean to the programmers. So done that. Got it? Naturally, your DAO layer will fail. If you have already done it, you continue in your own manner. So here, just add the method here. I think you are JDBC DAO experts by now. So I don't really have to help you in that. You know, we are finishing layer by layer so that we can continue with the revision also and some additional code also. So if I want to insert a new tutorial, add the new tutorial, this is the DAO layer, which is very hopefully comfortable to you. Change or no change? Do you want to add any new this? Of course, change. Yes, you're right. You must be already done it. I did not do it, so I'll do it with you. So here we have a PST4 CN dot. This whole business soon is going to, I mean, not this case study. I can't start with the case study immediately since it is going to be our first day of Hibernate. But over time, yes, we will reach here. So now tell me, which query goes in? Insert, update, delete, select. Of course, insert. So correct me if I make a mess. Insert into tutorials values. Okay. And I'll have to open my database for this. I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, use what? DAC 22. And here I'll say describe. Yes. Okay, so just counting. So 1 will be default. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So it will be nothing but default. And then you have question mark 4, 5, and 6. Am I correct? If I make a mistake, tell me. You always tell me, like do tell me always. Insert into tutorials, default and all that. This is fine. Okay. So this is done. And now let us write the you don't have to set the visits. Yes, you are Ashutosh, you are absolutely right. But I'm taking a test. For example, you have a D zone kind of a site. I don't know whether you heard of it. So in D zone, it's a very good Java tutorial website. So here, if you have D zone, what happens is different authors already publish their tutorials and D zone just links to them. So the point, Ashutosh, or yeah, Ashutosh, right? So yeah, Ashutosh, I said is your tutorial may be having earlier visits. Okay, that was the small thinking on my part. But if you want to say that, okay, first time you are publishing somebody's contents, you can start with a visit count of 0. Agreed totally. So I just thought from that side. So I'm taking the visits also input. Have I taken it from the form? Let me see. Let me see what we have. Otherwise, I could be, I mean, we can change it then. So case studies, I have to refer to the same this. Oh no, you are right. So I'm not taking the visits here. Yes. So either, let me say this properly without confusing you. Yes, Prashant, I'm in the discussion. Just give me a second. So since I have not taken the visits from here, you are absolutely right, Ashutosh. Thanks for pointing it out. So either I'll have to add a visits field here, integer or original visits, or like you said, I don't have to take it. So here, let's take the values here. So which column it is? Number. So here, what is it? The first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth column, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and here I can say 0, or I can say here default. Default will work? I don't know. Oh, okay, you don't have to really set it. You can just skip it. So I went for the other thing. So here, but we will have to, just a second. No, we will set it to 0 in the code. Okay, so let me be simple. So all 6 I'm taking, and the visits will be not taken from the user. It will be by default initialized to 0 itself. So all okay so far. Now insert into tutorials values default. Next one. So after doing that, what is it we'll have to do? Prashant, I'm not taking the column names, too much to type. So let us add this new tutorial. So first we'll have to do the set in parameters. Okay. So start dictating, start understanding. Oh, sorry. Before I forget, let me close that EST4. I expect you to do it on your own and not keep waiting for me. PST4. Only thing is, if I make a mistake, please tell me. So as before, as always, I just want to repeat this so that I don't make a mistake. Okay, start. So first is the name. Set string. I should have prepared this and kept it ready, Anyway, doesn't take too much time. Where am I writing? Oh, yes. I lost that. So PST4 dot set string. The parameter position is 1, and this is tutorial dot get name, right? The tutorial name, where is that tutorial name? Yeah, get tutorial name. Okay, next one. Keep checking my code. Otherwise, later we'll suffer. Then is the name, author name. Set string 2, dot get author. This is just the last time we are writing it, because the next one we will be seeing us in a Hibernate. So you'll see none of it is required. Why Hibernate is a topic by itself. Next topic, that is PST4. So next one is the date, right? Set date, where the parameter position is 3. And here I'll say tutorial dot get published date. A quick question. What should be the data type of get published date? Java.util.date, Java.sql date, or local date? Answer that. Of course, Java.sql.date. You are very right. So now we come to the fourth one, which was we were having a debate. And I totally agree, because my form is not having that. If I add it, I can take it from this. So set, what is it? Visits is int, right? So set int, the parameter position. Since I'm not taking the visits from the user for this thing, setting it to, I'll just make it from tutorial.getVisits. So later, if I change our mind anytime, let the facility be there. The contents are going to be string. I'm not showing you here blobs, binary large object or character large object. I'll take that with Hibernate. Set string. So it's a simple string in 5. Dot get contains. And the last one, I guess, is the foreign key. 4 dot set int. Position is 6, right? You have a tutorial.get topic ID. I hope I have not made any mistakes. So now, which is the execution method we should use? Execute query, execute update, or execute? Everyone should know the answer. Of course, it is execute update. And I'm just done it so many times. So we are not wasting your time in that, morning time especially, which is so here I'm saying PST 4 dot this. If it is this, then tutorial, new tutorial added, or some simple messaging, new adding tutorial field. Done so much. I'll send you this. And like I always keep telling you, because guys, I'm talking to you also, and parallelly this, there's a great chance that I may mess up. So if I make some mistake, you're not supposed to just sit there. You're supposed to tell me. Tutorial DAO implementation, send me. Okay, so now continue with the story. So who is going to manage the tutorial DAO? Everyone knows the answer. JSP or Java Bean? A Java Bean. And we decided on a separate Java Bean. Correct? So where should you write a Java Bean? In which package, obviously? Packages are for separation and segregation. So beans, right click, new, class, tutorial bean. No extends, no implements. It's a standalone, just a helper class. Java Bean is not a dynamic web component. There are only 3 dynamic web components. One is servlet, other is JSP, and the third one which I'll show you before Spring Security is something called a servlet filter. So what is a Java Bean? It's a helper component to help either JSP servlets to nicely separate a business logic. So yes, tell me, which DAO layer a tutorial bean is going to manage? User DAO, topic DAO, or tutorial DAO? Silly question, obvious question. Of course, a tutorial DAO. So add. Once again, I'm saying you can go for iTutorial DAO interface reference pointing to implementation class. So that would be indirect referencing. Currently, I'm doing the direct referencing. Okay, so done this. So here I'm saying add this as the property. Later, whatever additional properties will require, we will add. So we are developing it, understanding wise, hopefully clearly. And what you need to add is a constructor, because this is what going to be called when you say JSP colon use bean from your login page. Obvious question, obvious answer. Okay, before I say this, add a SOP to trace in tutorial bean constructor. Okay, obvious question. What should I do here? Okay, I'll ask you a better question. Who is dependent upon whom as far as this class is concerned? Who is dependent upon whom? Everyone should know this answer by now. Java Bean is dependent on this. So if I ask you which is the dependent object, it's a bean. What is its dependency? A DAO there. So since we are still away from 3 days at least away from Spring Framework, we are not, there's nothing like there's no ready-made third-party container which can automatically provide you the dependencies. So here you have to create the dependency. So create, what was it? Tutorial DAO instance as its dependency. Purposefully, I'm using all these words. So after 3-4 days, when I take you to Spring Framework, at that time, you will not have any difficulty understanding the terms. Dependent bean, dependency DAO. So it is as simple as that. Tutorial DAO is equal to new tutorial implementation. Are we going to do the centralized error handling? 100% yes. So throws SQL exception. Again, I think I have a problem here. So yeah, it's a unnecessary. If you're using my DAO layer, please remove this, because I'll tell you, if you're wondering that why from where her code, I mean this coming from, in earlier versions of JDBC driver, we had to explicitly load the class.forName, and that used to lead us to class.found. But today, I mean this batch, whatever, I've given the latest driver 8.0.27, it doesn't require it. Okay, so that was that is why it was coming from earlier. So tell me, has everyone finished this much? Completed tutorial bean? So now let's go to your which page? Login.jsp, src main web app, login.jsp, and you tell me, would you like to add something more here, or are we happy? Are we happy with user bean, topic bean, or are you going to require the tutorial bean also somewhere? Exactly. So here, add. I hope you are understanding the revision also and something going ahead. Those who have already done it yesterday, sit back and just revise. So JSP colon use bean. Go systematically. I'm telling you, will make less mistakes. So I can have any ID. Any means not ABC. Last is equal to whatever. Oh, and I don't want to add any child tag body inside nested tag, and scope is going to be, actually this scope can be application, but I'm keeping it all simple. Beans dot control space tutorial. So when the client, any client is sending the first request to this login form, at this point itself, 3 beans. Beans are nothing but attributes, key and a value pair in that inside internal map. User referring to user bean, topic referring to topic bean, and tutorial to tutorial bean. Are we all clear 100% so far? Nothing complex? I mean, nothing confusing? Okay. So continue with the revision now. So I have not yet come to, so login form is submitted. So look at your form and tell me which is the next page where the login data, where the login form is going to be submitted. Tell me. You know the answer. You just have to look at form action, validate.jsp. Everyone understands it? So open the validate.jsp and start looking at it. So here, because that is what is the revision also, and little bit of going ahead also. So there are too many comments. So I'll not read the comments. I will discuss it with as a revision. So which is the line here? The first line which we have written is JSP colon set property equal to start, name equal to user. So let me pick it up and let's continue with the, so this is your RQ2. RQ1 is done, request 1, response 1 done. So now let's write here validate.jsp, and what was the code we had written here is this. So now you have to tell me which part of the beans have been called so far. Only the constructor. No setters, no getters, no business logic is called. So now start answering. When you say set property equal to start, which part of bean will get called? I mean, which code part of the bean will get called? Choices are the same: constructor, getter, setter, or business logic method. Of course, it is a setter. Now, and next question. Whose setters? I hope you know. User, it's just a reference. It's a bean ID. Bean ID becomes the name property, name tag here, name attribute here. So user beans. So when I say star, does it mean all or does it mean all matching setters? Just a quick revision, all matching setters. So now tell me, listen to this. So container has got a request which has 2 request parameters whose names are, I think, email and password. So tell me, when you write this, web container will tries to call which 2 setters? Because see, it is all connected with the request parameters. Anyone wants to tell me which 2 setters? Of course, set email and set password. Okay, set password. And why I'm spending such a huge amount? Because in a couple of days, when I take you to Spring MVC, similar form handling, Similar form binding you will see, but of course in a very advanced form. So set email, set password is called. So now, can you tell me this email and password, they have reached from JSP to which layer? Java Bean. So see now, user bean instance is ready, your properties are set. So are we now ready to call the business logic method of a user bean? Of course, yes. Everyone knows it. And how do we call it? How do you want to call it? With a scriptlet using a Java code or without a scriptlet, without using Java code? With or without? Answer is without. Everyone knows that. So what is that method? Okay, so do a little bit of revision. So which is the method you want to call? Authenticate user. Can you call this Java Beans method from the EL syntax? 100% yes. Why? Because Java Bean is nothing but an attribute, and anything to do with the attribute, I can do it with the EL syntax so easily. So now solve this. I'll write it. So suppose I write here something like dollar. This is a revision. I'll put it in the redirect and all that later. So suppose I say session scope. So what is session scope? Name of the map container created to hold the session scope attributes. So this is the name of the map. Now you have to give the attribute name. So the attribute name is nothing but a bean ID. So user, and then what is that method name? Authenticate user. So here tell me, should I add these parentheses or should I skip this parentheses? These parentheses I'm talking about. Add or no add? Of course I'll have to add. If I don't add it, what will your container treat this as? A property and a getter will be called. Okay, so 100% this has to be called. I mean, this has to be managed. So who is calling whose method here? JSP is calling the Java Beans method. Follow the, trace the flow. So the control comes from JSP to Java Bean. Java Bean to DAO. DAO will either return you user details as a user pojo or null. So if the user values, if there is an invalid login, what will your DAO layer return? Null or not null? Of course, answer is null. And in that case, in this case, what is it we are setting here? We are setting a property. What is the name of the property? Error message to invalid login. And which is the outcome? Which is the status outcome? What is the status string we are returning is login. So if the user could not log in because of invalid credentials, do you want him to continue in the case study or do you want to take him back to the, just a second, to the form? Of course, we want to take him to the login form. So tell me, is the invalid branch clear? The flow wise it is clear and the code wise and everything wise it is clear? 100% of you. See, because if you don't answer, then I can't understand you. So when you take the client back to the login form, now tell me, what will be the value of this error message? Null or not null? In the invalid login case, the value of error message will be not null, that message. And that is what you are seeing appearing invalid login. Please retry. Is the invalid branch completely clear? So that we can focus on the valid branches now. Yes or no? Totally makes sense? Okay. So now here, where are we? User bean. Suppose I say the login was successful. So you come to this not null branch. But here we have two separate roles, customer and admin. So if it is customer, take him to navigate. See, okay, listen to this. The job of the Java Bean is not navigation. That is the JSP job. So we don't care whether we are going to use your client pool or server pool or whatever. You don't care. You just give, you as a Java Bean developer, you just tell the where to take the client next or what is that result of the business logic action. That's topics. And the one which we are going to trace, continue tracing or started already is, I want to, if it is an admin user, I want to navigate the client to show tutorial form. So answer me, simple question. What will this method return? I'll mention this. So what will this method returns in case of successful, just a second, in case of successful admin login. Tell me, what is it returning? Everyone knows it. It is going to return us a string show tutorial form. Are we good so far? Are we clear so far? Everyone is connecting to the statements, right? So now who is sending this outcome to whom? Java bean is sending it to the caller. Now the control comes back to validate. And if you recall, initially we had done the navigation using the JSP :forward. So quickly, looking at time, we have to go quicker. Otherwise, our Hibernate will suffer. Anyway, so tell me, when I say JSP :forward, server pull or client pull? Same request or new request? Server pull, sending the same request. So if you compare between server pull and a client pull, which is actually faster? Server pull. Then can anyone tell me why we discarded server pull and replaced it by client pull? Which was the problem you were facing? Double submission issue, or you can say multiple submission issue. Means what? Anytime, I'll ask you a question. Suppose if we continued using JSP :forward, what will be the URL client will see after the admin login is successful? Your choices are validate.jsp or show tutorial form.jsp. Everyone is understanding it? See, when somebody responds, I take it that everyone, otherwise you ask a question. Okay, that way, that is the deal. So, of course, it is a validate.jsp. So, if any time you perform, you means client performs a refresh. Refresh means what? A client is trying to send the request again to validate.jsp. So, again the form submission, again the execution of select query. It was a multiple submit issue. Everyone understands it? So I told you yesterday, but I said a lot of things yesterday. So I'm just repeating the whole thing. So if it is a select query, at the most what we are incurring is the database traffic. But if it is something like a DML, insert, update, delete, it is definitely dangerous. So what is the solution? The problem, root cause is, server pull. What is the solution? PRG pattern, absolutely. So post, redirect, get. In simple words, simply replace your forward, server pull, where we were dispatching the client request dispatching to the next page in the same request, send redirect. So if you say response.send redirect, now answer. If I replace forward by redirect, whose URL your client browser will see? Choices are the same, validate.jsp or show form.jsp. Which one? Show tutorial form. Got it? And let client refresh that page 100 times. I mean, whatever times. Will the authentication query, that select query, will it be submitted multiple times? Absolutely not. Everyone gets me? So that is your famous post redirect get pattern. You submit the form using the post. After that, instead of doing forward, you say redirect. So the redirect response is sent back and client browser will send the next request using get to reach the next page. Okay. But we had a problem. Do you have a JSP standard action such as JSP :redirect? We don't. So what is the solution? Is the solution scriptlet or is the solution JSTL? Of course, the solution is JSP standard tag library. So when you exhaust, when the standard actions are not sufficient, you add additional actions. So now we are entering JSP standard tag library. So tell me the steps. What is the first step? If you want to enjoy JSTL tags, additional actions, additional tags, what is the 0th step? What is the first step? No, that is the second step. I mean, that is a programmatically first step, but you have to have a jar first present. So which jar you require? JSTL 1.2 jar. I mean JSTL jar, correct? So that jar is not given by the Tomcat. I had downloaded it from something called as Maven Central Repository. Like we have npm and we keep downloading the dependencies in React. Npm install, let's say Bootstrap, React Router DOM or whatever. Here, I'm going to start it later. There is something called as a Maven Central Repository. So I have downloaded from there. So don't feel lost in the words. Do things with me. So why don't you open this Apache Tomcat? And this will show you, I'm opening that, maximizing it. You have all these Apache supplied, Tomcat supplied jar, and which are the two jars which I have copied it additionally. One is JSTL 1.2 jar and one is MySQL connector. So those who are not using my jar have to first copy this JDBC connector and JSTL, and then only, for today, of course, JSTL, and then only you'll start enjoying, or then only you can start using JSTL actions. All clear about the jar? Okay, so now let us come to whatever and tell me. Yeah, now you are telling me. So like how this is not a JSP standard action. So if it is an additional action coming from JSTL jar, like you are telling me, what is the next step? You have to import a tag library. So what is tag library? Collection of different tags. So who is the vendor of this tag library? java.send.com. JSP JSL, this is the namespace, JSP JSTL core. But be aware, core tag library is not the only library. There are additional, there is something like SQL library, there is XML library, there are a lot of libraries provided. We are just using the core tag library using the prefix of C. So let's go a little faster. When I say when I say C colon redirect, what is the internal code? What is the equivalent Java code container will call? Already there is an answer right in front of you. It is just a revision. You know that. So there are two methods it will call. Send redirect. But will it send the redirect URL directly or with encoding? Okay. Send redirect, encode redirect, redirect URL, both or neither. Answer is both. So this is the internal code. First it will say response.send redirect, and which URL it will take? Whatever you have given as the output. So it could be show tutorial form, it could be login JSP, whatever. And first it will encode it. So if cookies are disabled, it will add that JSession ID, append it with JSession ID, and then perform the send redirect. Okay, so come back to this. So here, when you use the tag C colon redirect, the URL, and that URL is going to be the dynamic URL, and this is your closing of the tag, and this is what we had given inside. Making sense? .jsp. Is it completely clear so far? 100% clear so far? Okay. And we are just adding that JSP extension because Bean doesn't stick to a particular view layer technology. Tomorrow I don't want JSP. Tomorrow I want a different view layer technology. I'm free to do that. Okay, so this is it. So now the moment you say redirect URL, so this is all we are doing. After redirect, nothing can happen. You know that. So this is your second one. And here you have a response, right? So, you know, it's a temporary redirect response send back. So you can call it as RQ2 RS2. Earlier was RQ1 RS1. This is your RQ2 RS2. Now come to the admin flow and tell me what will be the next request. So imagine that I already said, imagine that admin login has been successful. So admin login success. In that case, what will anyone wants to tell me? What will be the URL? This URL is a redirect URL coming from the client. So dictate HTTP, same host, same port. Yes, please. Of course, suppose I'm calling it as a CMS. I mean, today it is day 9.1, but content management system. After that, yes, what it will be? Show tutorial form. Prashant, you just forgot the .jsp extension. Absolutely correct. So it is going to be show tutorial form or whatever. Form.jsp. It's not a URL pattern. It's not a servlet which we are developing, right? It's going to be submitted to your JSP, correct? So this is the next request. And this is where I think we have stopped writing. So this is the next request coming from the client. Okay. And control, of course, comes to which page now? So now you open your obviously show tutorial form.jsp. Okay. So open that. Right. So you are saying the message admin login successful. Later I can say you can derive it. Now solve this one. I'll take it and you solve. This is just a what do you say, welcoming the user with a name. So here I have hello and this start solving. When you say session scope, is container going to look into any other map or a specific session scope attribute map, specific map? When you say dot user, it is equivalent to it saying session dot get attribute name is user. So answer the question, please. So when this much part of the EL syntax is solved, where have you reached? Java bean, absolutely. Which Java bean? Topic, tutorial, or user bean? User bean, absolutely. But dot is for getters. So now which method it will call? Get user details on the user bean. This is a successful one. So there's no null and all. And on, so okay. So when this part of the EL syntax is solved, where we have reached or what does this return? Let me see. User Pojo, absolutely. And when when we say the last one, which method will get called? Get name method will get called on the user Pojo. Getting the whole feel? Very, very similar things we'll do later in Spring MVC. So spending. So this is dynamically found the name. And after that, everything else is static other than the other than the what? Select option list. So I'll just take this much here. So now there is a dynamic form generation. So tell me, answer honestly. For doing this dynamic form generation from JSP, was it as hard? Was it as irritating as in servlet? Was it as tough as this? Absolutely not. Because we had already nicely separated. So dynamic form generation was a lot simpler because we could directly focus on the presentation logic. Okay, so let me solve only this one. Okay, so take a look at this. So because rest of the elements were just form data elements. So start. Everyone was select option list, drop down list, some name. Now, when you say, okay, I have to say this properly. Where is my items, right? So first focus on what is it we want to show. So that is where your case study should be opened. So here, this is that dynamic element. So what is it populated with? It is populated with available topic names. I am not giving the admin a flexibility that he can add a tutorial in any topic only from the available topics. So this has to be populated with the available topics. So which is the method you want to call? You want to call DAO layers, get all available topics. But JSP cannot reach the DAO. So we have a Java bean in between. So I'll highlight and you will answer. So let's say this. So please solve this particular EL syntax. When I say solve, I'll do it for you. When you say session scope dot topic, tell me, okay, I'll not hold this. Just solve this much. What is it equivalent to? Say, let me see what you're saying. Yeah, it is returning you the topic bean. So it is equivalent to session dot get attribute topic returns the topic bean. And when you say get dot topics, which method will get called? It's like a property. So get topics. So now trace. So when you go to this topic bean, which method will get called? Get topics method will get called. But bean is dependent on the DAO for data access logic. So here we're just acting like a dispatcher, a postman. Postman means Java bean simply gets the request from the JSP and gets the result from the DAO. And who is returning what to whom? Bean is returning the list of topics to the caller, and that caller is nothing but a JSP. Understood it? So now tell me, we wanted to iterate over the list of topics. So is there a iterator tag in the JSP standard actions, or is it from JSTL? Answer is JSTL. So the same things, JSTL jar was copied. So how do you import the JSTL tag library? Which director? Taglib. You got it? And so that part is the same. So I'll not waste time. And now, what is the name of the tag? For each. So the prefix is C for core, and for each, it is nothing but your Java's equivalent to Java's for each. So if I talk in Java, what it will be this thing? Expanding to for each topic T in session.getAttribute topic.getTopics, which returns me the list of topics. And now we have an option. So what is the value of the option we have submitted? Topic ID. And what is it which will appear as the option label? Option name is topic name. So this was your dynamic form generate. The only part. So if I continue here, rest of the part was rest of the HTML form inputs were all static. So this is where I think we are stopped at. So I did not want to spend so much time, to be honest with you. But once we start, you have to do it fully. So tell me, has this helped you in clearing whatever understanding and question? Okay, so now let's go ahead in a fast manner. So let me close everything. And here, we are going to trace it in that. I'll keep developing that diagram. And of course, I'll share it as a today's whiteboard. So here. So now the next question. I've not taken any visits. We already did that. So start answering. So here, this form. So this was the request. And what is the response? As a response, this form is going to be sent back to the client. Okay, so this finishes next request response. So now tell me, when the client fills out this form, choosing some user means admin user, what will be the next request submit? In short, after clicking on the submit button, what will be the next URL? What will be the next page you are going to write? We had not written that. So where this request will be submitted to? Next request, process form.jsp. Everyone knows that. So let me continue with our story. So here, the next request which client sends is going to be here. And this request will have all answers are always in the URL. So, be clear about the URLs and all. So it is going to be HTTP post port, and what was that? Process form.jsp. One is show form, one was process form. And for debugging, we had added the query string, and which request parameters would be present. Everyone knows the answer, including the topic ID, tutorial name, author, date of publication, and the contents. Got this? So now the control is in the process tutorial form. So let's start writing that. Are we clear so far? How the control reached here? So you can copy this and let's add a next page in our CMS. So here it is, process form.jsp. Okay. Now, so first understand and then writing becomes so easy. So now we are in process form.jsp. So you tell me, what is it? Identify, like always we do this. So what is it you want to do? You tell me, and then we will write it in the JSP in an easy manner. So all these inputs are there, are here. Which inputs? I just now told you, author, title, contents, date, etc. So what is it you would like to do with those inputs? Are you going to keep it in the JSP, or do you want to send it to somewhere? these request parameters. Yes. No, that's a long shot, this one, Yogesh. But yeah, first, these request parameters have to be sent to the Java bean, because that validation and that validation and the whole thing we are going to write into Java bean. So anyone, so we want to send, uh, or you can say set to be precise, these request params to Java bean. Which Java bean? Obviously, I mean, okay, no obvious. You tell me, user bean, topic bean, or tutorial bean. Take a pick. Of course, tutorial bean. This is all related to tutorial bean. So this is your tutorial bean. So anyone wants to tell me with scriptlet or without? Without. So which tag I should use for setting the request parameters to this? Of course, set property. So here, if you don't use property equal to star, how many times I'll have to call JSP colon set property? One per every parameter. So calling set property 10 times is better idea, or calling it once is a better idea? Of course, calling it once is the better idea. So I'll say property equal to star. I'll write it. You don't have to do this. And the bean ID becomes the bean name here in set property tag. So whatever, I think tutorial or whatever will match this. So this is the JSP colon set property. Add it here. So typically we add JSP colon use bean set property outside the body tag just as a norm, because it is not producing any contents to be sent to the client. That's what is the explanation. So add JSP colon set property equal to star. Please don't make any spelling mistakes. So I'm just not relying on my spellings. Tutorial and adding it here. Understood? So we want to send the client's conversational state, which are nothing but the tutorial details. We want to inject it. We want to pass it from JSP to Java Bean. So open your Java Bean and tell me, in the currently written case, how many setters your container will call? 0 is a very right answer. Why? Container is not a magician. It will just take those request parameters and will try to call set content, set author, or whatever. Doesn't find any setter. Container says, hey, I tried my level best. You did not give me any matching, so I can't help you. So now start thinking. Tell me, what is it we will have to add in the bean to make that happen? I want to call all those 6 or 7, whatever, 5, 6 setters automatically. So what is it I'll have to add? Quick question, quick answer. In the tutorial bean, what is it? Add the, a setter is a second step, Yogesh. First, what is it I'll set is add the data members exactly. Properties is equal to state. And then we will generate the whatever setters. So here, add a comment, add properties, props, props from React anyway, add props to, add properties to represent or to reflect, you can say, represent client's state. And clients use the heavy words. Heavy means to impress the interviewer. Client's conversational state, which is what? Nothing but your simply said request parameters. So can I keep any arbitrary names, or do I have to stick to a particular name? Of course, stick to it. Otherwise, how can the matching will be done? Oh, so I think in yesterday's sequence, I'd written all this. I don't want to redo the efforts at all. It's so boring. So let me see. Otherwise, if I don't have it, then I'll have to. Anyway, forget it. I was going to this. You can always tell me, because we have a form here. So please start. You start writing. So where is it? Show tutorial form. Start. So here, topic ID. Go step by step. And I'm telling you, if you understand and do it, you'll never make a mistake. Blindly, yes, of course. So this is the thing. So right. Answer the question. What should be the data type of that topic ID? You have two choices, string or int. int. Who is going to parse the string to integer? Programmer, I mean Java Bean developer or web container? Web container. You remember why Java Beans? One of the reason is your web container can automatically do the translation from string-based request parameters to primitive type. And you tell me, is int a primitive type? Of course, yes. So who can manage that? Our container, web container. So directly, topic ID will generate the setters in a minute. So go systematically and finish it. Next one. So first request parameter done. Now the next one. I think you might have done it, or if not, do it with me. No problem. So here, tutorial name. It's all about understanding and matching, as I keep saying. Author. Yes. Oh. Just a second. So here you have a private string. It's a varchar. So I mean the Pojo type itself is, I mean property type is here. And the next thing I want is, show tutorial form. So author is taken care. Tutorial name, pub date, publish date. So private, pause here. What should be the data type of pub date? You have two choices, string or a date. Should it be string or should it be date? I'm getting both the answers. Okay, majority is wrong. String is a correct answer. Guys, why? Because is your date, such as java.sql.date, a primitive type or a reference type? Easy answer, easy question. So, can you are poor? Poor means limited. Spring container can do all this magic, anything to anything. But web container cannot translate from string to non-primitive types. So, who will have to do this parsing? Java Bean developer as a programmer, or will container do it? Container cannot. I mean, web container cannot. You'll have to wait for Spring container for this. So this was the interesting. So many interesting things you have. When you start building a case study, practical case study, so many things you get. I'll repeat in quick word. Web container can only translate string-based request parameters to primitive types, but this conversion, string to date conversion, is beyond the programmer. I'm sorry, is beyond the container. So we have to do it. Understood? I hope what I said. The contents are easy, string, so no issues. If I make a mess, as in, somewhere if I make a mistake, please shout. Is everyone clear about the statements I made? Now, since we are going to call your this thing, what is it? The set property, you can simply generate setters. And later, if you require getters, you can generate. So here, source, generate getters, setters. And here, select setters. Author contains pub date topic ID. Tutorial DAO, I don't want a setter. So you can remove it, tutorial name. If you are not understanding this, my standard suggestion is select all. That is also fine. So now tell me, when I say, I'll share it in a moment when I complete. So when the form is submitted, how many setters will be called automatically by the container? I don't know, I'll have to count. So first one, set topic ID, set tut name, set author, set pub date, and set contains. Understood this? Yeah, so 5 must be the count. Got it completely? Okay. So build it in that manner. So here, the state, I'll say this, the request parameters are sent to the Java Bean. Done. Now tell me, see, your Java Bean instance, which Bean instance? Tutorial Bean instance is created long back in the login page. Your properties are sent. So are we ready to execute the business logic? Is it ready to execute the business logic? Of course, yes. So you can execute the business logic of, or rather from your tutorial Bean. Only problem is we don't have that logic. So we'll build one. Okay. So here, come to the tutorial bean, and let's add a method here. So here, add a business logic method. Is it going to blindly insert the tutorial, or is it going to do the validations first? It is going to do the validations first. There are some validations rules we have mentioned, right? As a business logic method to validate the inputs, and then in case of, and then insert a record, insert the new tutorial in case it works. And before we finalize anything, I should actually just a second. So here, in case of validation errors, see, these are the validation rules we are going to build. If you have done it in a servlet, you must have tightly coupled it in the servlet. Now we are just putting it in a bean, nothing different. So these rules, in case of failure, I want to navigate the client back here. And in case of no validation errors, whatever it has said, redirect the admin to logout page. So listen to this. In case of successful validation, we will insert the record calling the DAO layer method which we wrote. And in case of a failure, and then redirect the client here, take the client here, or take the client here. So from this information, which is the only rule for writing a business logic method, it should be public. Anyone wants to tell me what is the suitable return type? Participate maximum, you feel better. Of course, a string. It is again going to decide the outcome of where to take the client next. Perfect answer. And then I can say validate and then insert. Validate and insert tutorial, something. Always give the method names, which are what? Self-explanatory. Answer the question quickly. How many arguments you need to pass to this method? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Of course, 0. Are you understanding? Because we have now I think today you will have a better feel. Already the constructor is called. So you are ready for instance method to be called, and already the setters, already the state, whatever the selection has reached the bean. So you are absolutely right in saying 0. You can always, I mean, if you want, you can trace it, SOP it and all. So right now I will not waste time. So now tell me, what should I first do? Validation or insertion? Of course, validation. Everyone understands it. So now look at those validation rules. So first rule is easy. Contains less than 255 length method. And publish date. I mean, we are not publishing any older tutorials. So start helping me. So first is the validation rules. So let's have the rule. So, okay. So contains rule is easy. So you tell me now, what is the type of the date currently? A string. So how are we going to check? I discussed this earlier that it is the duration, the period is 6 months and not more. Which is the method you want to use for counting whether the tutorial was published, whether the tutorial is 6 months old or more. Which one? A period. So period is a java.time class which has a method between. What is the argument of between? Java.util.date, SQL date, or local date? Local date. So guys, here, what is the first conversion? See, before validation, you have to do the conversion. Conversion from string-based date to java.util.date or local date. Of course, local date. Everyone understands me? So here, great news is HTML5 input type date already gives you the default format, which is the default this thing. Date format. It gives you year, month, and day. So do you have to use date time formatter, or can local date.parse method will work directly? Of course, parse method will work directly. Okay, so let me write it. Local date, not time. Look, I just want local date. So I'll create it as a date is equal to RHS, please. You just have to call a parse method. So you can say import static or anything. So here the focus is on beans. So local, I'm not using that. Parse, and in goes what? A pub date. Getting it completely? So we are doing the parsing here. After the parsing, then you can do the validations. So now I can have, I can count the period. So int months elapsed between, the current date and all that. So let's do that period, which is the package from which you will import it, java.time. It has the method between start date, that is the pub date, or sorry, date, and the current date. How do I get the current date, guys? Local date dot now. And that period, now I want it in not months, not years, in months. Is everyone remembering the core Java API? This is all core Java API. You got it? Earlier, I think we were computing the age of the user. Here, I'm just computing the period elapsed. Oh, so yeah, it is yet to return. So just a second. What I'll do is I'll satisfy the compiler so that I'll stop getting that error. Of course, you are not going to return null. We'll work it out. So now let's have the rule. If contains dot length is greater than some 255. This is just a dummy rule, just to show you the process. If it is greater than 255, or okay, I'll say less than 255, and add the other rule. If the months elapsed is less than 6. Am I correct? The content size is less than 255 and it is a newer tutorial. So tell me, what does it indicate? Validation success or validation failure? Of course, a success. So here it is, validations successful. You remember we used to write all of this in a what? Validation rules or validation utils and all. Now we are putting it in the Java main. Wait for, I always tell you something ahead of time. When I take you to Spring, you will see this code can be replaced by certain annotations. So again, there will be a reduction of code that way. So anyway, so now if the validations are successful, what is it we want to proceed to? Proceed to insertion of a record. Which record? Tutorial. So are we writing a DAO layer? Data access logic here, or is it separated in the DAO already? Of course, it is separated in the DAO. So in short, invoke call DAO's method. Understanding totally? There is absolutely no pressure of typing along. Pressure means compulsory thing is understanding. You know that. Okay, so what is it we are calling this? Tutorial DAO dot, what is that method? Add new tutorial. Of course, we require the tutorial constructor. So here, tutorial ID. Tutorial ID is going to be generated. So pause. Where are we? Go to the Pojos. And this is your all hours constructor. But tutorial ID is going to be what? Generated default. So let us create a overloaded constructor. You can always add here whatever, but better is better. This is add the constructor which doesn't have the primary key. Everything else I'm going to take. Okay. Actually, visits also I could have initialized to 0, but let that be. So coming back to the point, I'm just thinking the visits also I can remove. Okay. Let me remove that because visits are going to be initialized. Default initialized value of int is 0. So I'll just generate it without that. I said I don't require tutorial ID. I don't require visits since we are not taking it from user. Okay, generate. Now let's go to this. I save all. And here, tutorial, choose as usual. Don't rely on the memory. I'll just pick up this constructor arguments. So we'll not make a mistake. Will not waste time in short. Right? And you will know later that which constructor I'm referring to. Basically that. Okay, so new tutorial. Go to this. So tutorial name already comes. Then the author is, you tell me if I make a mistake. Then the next one is publish date, which is the oh. Now we have a problem, a small problem, not a big problem. So tell me, listen to this. It's always interesting to discuss. Here, what is the date type Pojo is requiring? Because it is going to map it to the JDBC table, which is the type we require is java.sql.date. And what is it we have got? Oh, where are we? We are here. We have got either a local date or a pub date, which is string. So in short, quickly tell me, help me, convert it into java.sql.date. You can use anything, date.value of. You have two value of methods, one which can take a string date, which is pub date, or one which can take local date, anything. So when I say date dot, please pick up java.sql.date, yeah, local date. So you can use date, or you could have used date.value of pub date. Both would work. Then we have the contents and the topic ID. So that is your topic ID. Okay. So you have called the bean has called the down layer method. Again, delegate the exception handling to the caller. And in case we reach here, okay, so that means there are no exceptions. There is nothing wrong in that. So where do you want to redirect the client? Where do you want to navigate the client? What should I return from this branch? Don't answer blindly ever. So where do you want to a logout page, which it is under construction, but we'll finish it fast. Don't worry. So return logout. Getting this? So I'll say this in case of success. Success means successful insertion. Navigate. Whether client pool, server pool, all that will be decided later. So navigate the client to logout page. Of course, guys, this is a tiny part of the big content management system. You might say that redirect him back to the admin central page, the main page under admin, where admin can remove the older tutorials, or he can add new topics, etc. etc. All CRUD you can add later. So currently logout, and here in case of if the else branch here will mean in the validations field. So in that case, tell me, where should I take the client? Back to the form. Exactly. So show tutorial. I'm trying my spellings here. I'm interesting my spellings here. But again, the problem is, of course, it will go unique. So see, the overnights have changed. So add error message that was added in the user bean. So here also let me have that add error message property so that I can report the problems. Private string. Whether you give the same variable name or not, it doesn't matter really. So here, tell me, what is it I need to generate? Setter or a getter? Because that will tell me your understanding. What is it I need to generate here? A getter. Why? Because JSP is going to read that property, right? So and we are going to initialize that property in that error branch. But if you're not understanding, as usual, the shortcut is generate both. But since you gave me a correct answer, I'll do the correct one. So here, let us set the error message to invalid form inputs. Currently, I'm not doing that which one has actually failed. You can microscopically tell that contains invalid form inputs, either contains or published date. I'm just saying it is either of it. One of it, or both may be wrong. Either contains or published date are wrong. Oh. Okay. So this is your little bit of error reporting. Is the method completely clear? Okay, I think we are done with the bean. If there are any problems, of course, we will debug. So let me send you the bean. So beans, tutorial bean. I'm sending you in case you want to, in case you did not write. But at least understanding wise, is everyone clear here? Okay, so now let's write. Did we write process form? Okay, we were talking about it. So execute the business logic from tutorial bean and redirect the client accordingly. So the moment I say redirect, what is it we are going to use? C:\redirect, correct? And the URL, you'll know. I mean, that whole method we will call from the EL syntax in a minute. Understood how we are going to develop this process form JSP clearly? So this was your next discussion. This is your next step. So let's create the, we have created it. We have set the property. So now, since this is going to really result into your redirect action, there is no redirect action. So first import using the tag lib directive, JSTL supplied core tag library. So URI is equal to choose. See, okay, 1 second. So this is the one we are choosing. But if you can see, there's a formatting tag library, there's a functions library, SQL, XML. So there is a lot more. We are just using the core tags with a prefix of C. And here, all you have to do is C:\redirect and keep ready your URL value. I'm not writing that URL value. Something has to come from you. Yes. Type the EL syntax. Give me the EL syntax to call the method. And of course, we are going to append it by, .jsp. I'm waiting for your inputs. I want what you want to write here. You just have to call the method. Waiting for your response. Are you typing or are you like lost? I hope you are not lost. Okay, you were typing. Yes, absolutely correct. Very right. I'm so glad to see it. So we want to call the beans method. What is a bean? Attribute. What is the name of the map in which we have stored it? Session scope. So I'm going from left to right instead of right to left. So session scope. What is the attribute name? You know this. So we have got the attribute name as a bean ID as the tutorial. And then you have to simply call. So we have already reached the tutorial bean reference, tutorial bean, and you just have to take this. And since it is not a getter, tell me, are the parentheses required or not required? 100% required. You got me? Otherwise, you know, I mean, it will treat it as getter and it will start calling get validate and insert tutorial. And soon you will get a message, I mean, error that no such property exception. So I'm just saying something because we are not spending more time. Already we overspent time on JSP Java Beans. If required, this is an ordinary. Ordinary means business logic method. So if it requires parameters, you can send the parameters also. In my current discussion, you don't require it. But in case, just keep it at the back of your mind. In case you need to pass the arguments, you can definitely pass the arguments. If a use case comes up, I'll show you the example. So I think we are done here. Before I go elsewhere, I have a small question. Listen to the question properly. The moment I say C:\redirect, you know, internally it is going to call response.send redirect plus encoding. But when you say response.redirect, what will your container do? It will first thing is discard the response buffer, which is your JSP writer buffer. Understood me completely? I mean, is the statement clear? We have said it literally a million times. So in that case, does it really make sense to set the content type, to set all of this, and to have this HTML head tag and all that? let me rephrase, let me repeat my question. I said the content buffer is going to be discarded. So what is the point? What is it you are doing by adding that HTML head and body? If the particular page is always going to say either forward or redirect, get rid of it and make that sensible. Make it crisp. So here, since it is every time going to redirect, not print writer, JSP writers buffer is going to be discarded. So get rid of it. There's no point. It makes no sense setting the content type. Don't remove this because you require imports, and get rid of whole thing here and make your JSP crisper. I mean, as per the requirement. So that's it. And you'll see only the required things we have kept. Likewise, you can also reduce extra fluff, extra unwanted thing from your earlier page, that validate.jsp. So one I'm showing you, one I have shown you, the other I'm keeping it for you. So I said, what I said was, this validate.jsp, I'm not wasting my time. You know the statement. It is also redirecting the client to either login or to admin flow or to customer flow. You reduce it. 100% the same. Are the statements clear? So now go faster and tell me. I want to finish it before this break. I mean, we have to start with Hibernate then. So anyway, so answer this. What is the next thing I should do? In case of error, it is going to take us back to redirect us back to client, back to this. But have we displayed the error message or not yet? In this page, have you displayed it? Answer is not yet. So display it. So here, add it. You can copy it from that earlier form. I am just not copying it. Just to highlight, I'm saying color. You don't have, oh, not cute. And here you can say align or whatever. Let this. So error message. So error message is deep inside that bean. And that bean is nothing but attribute under the session scope. And then just take that error message thing. And this time, you don't require any parenthesis. So when you don't add a parenthesis, it is taken as a property and it will call the property getter. So session.getAttribute topic.getError message will do the trick. Done? Done or not is not. I mean, understood. Same thing we had done. Tutorial. Oh yeah, sorry, my mistake. Thanks. That's a copy pasting problem. Thanks for telling. Session scope.tutorial.error message. Yes. It's not in topic. I would have got a blank value and all that. Or that property not found exception because there's no property, I guess, in that. Anyway, so which is the next page I have to write quickly? Last page. Which is the last page which is pending from this admin session? Is the logout, and then we will test. So here, let's add your logout page. Web app. That will be common. If you decide to complete the customer flow, customer and admin can have the same logout page. Though no need to like write a separate one. And of course, it has to match. I hope you have been understanding this. Here, this is the branch. In case of success, you get this. And now I want to, I'm just thinking, no, let's not. I mean, I'll tell you what I was thinking. Let's give a message to this. So when I say, see this, tutorial new DAO, it is returning a string, tutorial added successfully. So why don't we send that message all the way to the top? So if I want to add a status message, using that variable error message doesn't make sense. So we can add an additional property or there is a little bit of refactoring. Let me stop calling it as an error message. I hope I'm not confusing you. Let me say this properly. If I reach the logout, I want to print that status message that tutorial added successfully. That message we have already got it from the DAO to Bean. I just have to give it from Bean to JSP. Understood this much? Okay. So I thought, I was thinking parallelly, it is very weird to call this as an error message because it is not an error message. So let us refactor and replace. So how do you refactor? Right click. I'll just call it as a message. So I can use it in an error branch also. I can use it in a success branch also. That was my thinking. So say refactor. There's no rename here. Anyway, let's do this. You'll have to manually. There must be some option. I did not find it. That's it. So of course you generate that error message. Getter for a message. I'll send you this again if you want it in a minute. And here, of course, you'll replace it by message. And also in the success branch, so add it. Understood my thinking? Understood the last refactor modification? I just want to report the success as well as failure. Yeah, in show form, we'll do it in a minute. Select the word and refactor. That is what I did, but I did not get the option. Anyway, that's a small thing. Thanks for telling anyway. So we have done it. But now this form will fail. So here also replace it accordingly. Got it? All making sense. So now go to the logout page and we are building that last page in this flow. So what we are having is, see this. When I saw the status message, I suddenly thought that yes, we don't have a status message. So hello username, that status message, clean up the DAOs layer, and finally invalidate the session and give a link to visit again. Got what is to be done here? Everyone understood this? Keep that flow, page flow in front of you, and let's build it. So start with the username. This is just a thing to see whether we are remembering the client, whether the session tracking is working fine. So hello, and where is this information about username? Is it in user bean, topic bean, or tutorial bean? Easy questions. It's in the user bean. But where is the user bean? It is nothing but a session scope attribute. So start with her. You can copy. We got it somewhere earlier. Session scope. I think the bean ID is user and user details, I guess. But like I said, oh, we have a problem somewhere. Just a second. Huh? I'm fixing this errors. Get tutorial details. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The refactor. Guys, this is the diversion. Tutorial DAO. I think, no, I did not remove this. Did I remove that all args constructor? I think I removed that all args constructor. Yeah, I think I got it twice. This is my mistake. This is my programming mistake. So let me add quickly. Suddenly I thought that something is not working. So let me add the all args constructor because my suddenly DAO had a problem. Just if you have also done the same mistake like this, I'd remove that all args constructor. I added it. So the issue solved. Where were we? The logout page, but I wanted to see the user being a property name. So user details. I hope by now you should be able to connect to whatever I'm doing. And I come to user Pojo, and then I have a name here. So this is the first part done. Now the next part. What is the next part we want to do? Status message. So you give me the status message. I want that status message, that tutorial inserted and all that. So give me that. You understood what I want is, right? We already got it till the bean. You just have to print it. You just have to use it in the EL syntax. So anyway, we have already spent a lot of time. Start with EL. All beans I have kept for easiness into this session scope tutorial.message. Very right. Good going. So here is the session scope. Now the bean ID attribute name is the tutorial. And then recently we added a property message. So what will be the equivalent Java code? Session.get attribute tutorial. You get a tutorial pin reference and on that get message. Done. Now the next one. status message. Now we have to see, this is a slightly different way. I'm creating the DAO instances in the beginning. So in the login, so I have to clean up the DAOs also. So anyone wants to tell me? Okay, first of all, is the requirement clear? Otherwise, you know that this whatever DAOs will be all open. So here, from the JSP, can you reach the DAO layer directly? Answer is no. What is the intermediary we have? Who can JSP control? A Java bean. You got it? Through Java bean, yes, I can do that. So let's do it for one, and you will know you can do it for others also. So let us take you to the user bean. User bean is managing the DAO, and let's see whether I have got a getter for this. So I have a set user DAO. Yeah, I have a getter. Great. So from the session scope, pick up the bean. From the bean, call this. And once you reach the user DAO, we have written the cleanup method. So it is again the EL syntax. Without writing, the whole idea is, you know, not to invest, not to write a scriptlet. So let me add a comment here. Cleanup user DAO, and accordingly we'll also clean up the rest. So start. So yeah, dollar. You can try it on your own. Session scope dot. Let me reach the user. So I reach the user bean. In user bean, just pick up the method and replace it by property name. Get user DAO, convert it into property. So remove the get and lowercase the first letter. And then you have a method. So you have reached now the DAO layer, and then you can call the cleanup. So DAO implementation. Do we have a cleanup method here? We have a cleanup method here, yes. And similarly, cleanup user DAO, topic DAO, and the tutorial DAO. Only thing is, we'll just confirm whether we have that. I'm just checking. You can manage. I hope you can manage. So let me say, confirm. Without getter, it's not going to work. You know that. So I've not added the getter for here. Keep adding things and try this out. Generate getter for tutorial DAO, get tutorial DAO, and similarly do it in the topic bean. If it is already there, fine. Otherwise, generate. So here it is. Get topic DAO. And here, finally, you come to a logout. Logout.jsp. And here, now you can just, okay, anyway, this is important. So that cleanup method is a void returning. So you are not going to send anything to the client browser. That's fine. All we want to call is the cleaning up. Topic dot for the recons. We have written those cleaned up messages and all that. So we can always confirm. Dot tutorial dot DAO tutorial DAO. I forgot. So right. Did I not add it here? Yeah, it is. So that we don't make mistakes, and otherwise if we make mistakes, of course we will recover. Dot. Okay. So this cleaning up is done. I'll wait here for a minute in case I make a mistake. Yes, very much, Kunal. We have to close the connection also. So we are going to do it in a slightly different manner. But yes, of course, cleaning up of the DAO layer, I'm talking to others because he's already guessed it. I'm talking to others. After cleaning up the DAO layer, whatever DAO layers you have, is the connection still open or is it closed? O or C, open or closed? It is open. You remember we removed that close connection because how can you do that? So one simple hack is just do it from the user DAO or somewhere. But the better way is web application listener. So we are going to do that in a minute. But like I said, let's let this finish. So I just remind me in case I forget, we have to close the connection. And on Saturday, I have showed you web application listener approach. So we are going to use that to open the connection and close it. You'll see all of it in a minute. So going ahead. So this part is also done. What else now I have to do? Yeah, so clean up the DAOs, invalidate the session. So tell me, how do we invalidate the session? Which method I have to call? HTTP sessions invalidate. But listen to the question. Can you use HTTP? Can I access? Or okay, let me rephrase. Is HTTP session implicit object of EL? Can you access directly a session from EL? Answer is no. Why not? Because you go through the list of EL implicit object. There's a session scope. That's an attribute map, but no session. So tell me, is there any EL implicit object which acts as a holder, which holds all the references to other implicit objects? I got already an answer. Of course, it is a page context. I told you on the first day, page context is so important. I mean, so powerful. So from page context, can I get to session? Yes. Open page context class, you will find a method get session. And from session, can I call invalidate? Very much yes. So there are two ways to it. Either write a scriptlet, a small scriptlet and call session.invalidate. But if you want it totally scriptlet free, let's write it with a EL syntax, invalidate session. Okay, so here start. All my emphasis is on JSTL and EL. So start with a page context. Page context is the holder. It represents a current page environment. All implicit objects available to this will be there. So page context dot. I just said dot. Now what is the object you want to lift is session. So which method it will call internally? Get session. Choose that. And once you say session, guys, it will show you only the getters. But we know there is a method invalidate. So tell me, after this parenthesis or no parenthesis? Of course, round brackets. Otherwise, it will try to call get invalidate. Unfortunately, your IDE doesn't understand. And it tells you that you are trying to call a get invalidate method, which is not present. But ignore the IDE. You will see whether the session is getting closed or not. I mean, the session does get called. Session invalidate does get called. You just have to ignore this red cross. So I think we have done everything. And now let's give a link for the user. User has been logged out. Oh, we never gave a message. You have logged out successfully or whatever. And here is the link to visit again. Here thing is getting over. So anchor tag. I'm not applying URL rewriting to entire case study because it takes again a lot of time. Of course, there are tags, but the point is that I'm keeping it for you in case you want. So currently we're just doing it in a normal manner, href and visit again, which will take the client all the way to the login page, which is the welcome page of your website. This red cross does not disappear. I mean, does not go away. So like you have to live with it. If you hate looking at red crosses and if it confuses you, simple other option is remove this and replace it by a scriptlet. You got me? Both the options I've suggested, whichever, both are working options. Don't worry about that. So we are done here in the logout. So as Kunal said, we have opened the connection fine, but we have not closed it. So do you remember the concept called as web application listener? I hope you have revised it over the weekend. So now you have a web application listener at the context level, servlet context level, session level, and the and what? Just a second, what I'm thinking about is, yes, we have it at a request level. So here we are calling this, so if you have it at a context initialized, context destroyed, likewise session created, session destroyed, etc. So can we use one of these listeners to close the database connection? I just have to call that dbutils.close connection method. Can we use it? Answer is yes. So here, either use it from the JSP, but from JSP again, I can only access the bean, and bean doesn't have a dbutils. So this is my just chance to show you the listener approach once again. So when the user is logging out, see this, observe. In the login page, when the user is logging in, we are creating the bean is creating the DAO, and in the any of the DAOs constructor, we are saying open connection. So if you control click on it, for the first time, the connection will be opened. So when the user is logging out, let's close the connection. I'll repeat the statement again. I want to call dbutils close connection method after the user logs out. So tell me, which listener I should use? Context listener, session listener, or request listener? Session listener, because I want to do something specific to the client. So now let's do it fast, looking at the time and all. So this is like a complete thing, complete proof of concept. So here src main java, new, choose the listener, package is listeners, and here I'm saying, what do you say, connection closing listener, or database connection listener, because I'm going to close the connection here. Database connection listener. Next, choose HTTP session listener lifecycle. Next, and finish. So this is put a SOP, so you will know what is happening. Session, a new session created. That means a user has logged in. You see in the JSP, you don't have to say request.get session, and just stress it initially. Session destroyed, which can happen either when the user logs out, or if the user doesn't log out, you have session expiration timeout. So whatever, 30 minutes, or if you reduce it, from that it will be closed. So here, let us open the connection. You will say, I have already opened it from DAO. But I would say, why wait? We have written it in a singleton manner. So the moment you call it for the first time, connection will be opened. So I don't want to waste time saying all these things again. So you simply say dbutils dot open connection, and the connection instance will be created right when any user logs in. Any user sends a request to login.jsp, it will be done. Unfortunately, you cannot override and all that. So simply wrap it in a try-catch block. Surround it with a try-catch block. And here, similarly, you want to close the connection. So dbutils dot close connection. So we are taking care of everything, not leaving anything like hanging open. Again, surround it with a try-catch block. I'm not sending you in parts because already we are almost like stopping for the break. So here, the whole zip file I'll share. Now, one last thing. See, in all these layers, whichever DAO, bean, we are not handling the exception. Everywhere we are saying throws. So what does the correct programming practice says is, you have to handle it at the top layer. So we have got so many JSPs. Should I start adding a try-catch blocks everywhere? or is there a centralized error handling approach? You know what I'm talking about. You remember the centralized error handling approach? It exists. So let us add a error handler page and configure it in a web.xml. Okay, so that will be the last part before we take a break. Web application new. You can give any name. So I'm just saying error handler.jsp. Okay, error handler. Any name can be given. And how do you tell that it is a error handling page? Is error. By the way, guys, this reminded me. I had asked you a important homework. Is thread safe? Go through and read. So sometime remind me. We will discuss it. So is error page true? And then can I access that exception object, error data, all from this page? Answer is very much yes. So let's add some error message. H5, you can have again the styling color because it's all it's an error. And then you can use your EL syntax, you can use your expression, anything. So I'm saying I just want to print the error message. You can do it with anything. So page context dot exception dot message. Or okay, let's do a more debugging. I'll just say exception dot toString. So if there is any problem, this will be highlighting. At least we'll know that there is something wrong in addition to error status. And how do I configure this for all the entire web application? You configure it as a error tag in WebXML. So this is your error page configuration. I've shown you this individually. We are just putting it together in a larger case study. That's it. And here I'll say exception type. Let it be any null pointer, SQL, class not found, anything. In short, java.lang.exception. If you have done the provision, you will know that we are just putting it together. And please add the location with a / to indicate the root of the application and error handler.jsp. Making sense? Understanding, remembering things? Okay, so I think we are done. So we will do the testing after the break. Don't be happy. I still have things to say. That is why I stopped this. We are going to test it, but this is of course this is a priority, but a higher priority is you are going to get a 1 hour's break. So the next topic I'm going to start after we test all this is Hibernate, one of the most important topics in your entire J2E. But Hibernate framework needs lot of jars. Okay. It should be a happy situation, not a sad situation. So here, so Hibernate framework requires lot of dependencies. So let me ask you a question in React. If you want to add a React app, if you want to create a React app with, let's say, Bootstrap, React Router DOM, Axios, all this, what is it we use? I'm trying to relate it to your JavaScript understanding. What do we use? Yeah, a package.json, this one gets created. NPM is the answer I was looking for. So it is a node package manager. I for install, and then you install all the dependencies. Everyone understands it? So that was your JavaScript. And okay, let me say this. I'll continue with the analogy. So NPM is your node package manager who is going to install npm yarn whatever, and those that will install the dependencies, and those dependencies are listed in which file? That answer is package.json. Are you understanding me totally? Okay, so now shift from JavaScript to Java. Like how we have there node package manager, here you have a tool called as Maven. So Maven is nothing but this is not the way I take it, but in the short time, I want you to start creating a project. That is why I had given you some day 9 help. So guys, please download. I hope you already said you have downloaded day 9 help. I'm going to give you instructions and you'll say why you are hurrying so much, because those jars, Hibernate jars, you are going to download from the net. And I don't want to eat up the session time. So in that 1 hour's time, you will have, you can do the downloading and you can keep the project ready. So coming back to the point, NPM equivalent is Maven. There are two project management tools, Maven and Gradle. You have in your contents Maven. And what is equivalent to package.json, you know, where the dependencies are listed, there is a file called as pom.xml, project object model. So that gets populated and that is where we do the dependencies. So I hope everyone, see the understanding part will come to you later. I don't want to waste your breakfast break. Okay, I don't want, I mean, kind of like the jars will get downloaded. You go ahead for your break. So please open that day 9 help. I hope you have already extracted. You will see a Hibernate help. Have you found it? Okay. And this lab sequence, of course, after coming back from break, we will test this whatever topic tutorial case study. And then we are going to produce, I mean, we are going to continue with Hibernate with all the concepts and all. So we are going to follow after the Hibernate architecture is clear. We are going to follow this lab sequence. I call it as a lab sequence. It's a hands-on sequence where I have given all the instructions. Explanation later, hands-on now. So literally, okay, sorry. Hibernate is a huge topic, vast topic. And I won't say complex, but yes, it is an advanced topic. So any good Hibernate trainer, including myself, we don't show you Hibernate directly in a web application because, you know, then your focus changes to web servers, web containers, request and response. So today, tomorrow, maybe partly day after, I don't know. I mean, it all depends on how fast or slow we go. We will test the entire Hibernate, CRUD operations, relationships, associations, etc. Everything what I want to show you from Hibernate in writing core Java testers. And then on the third or fourth day, whenever, we will integrate it in your web application. So in short, what are we going to create? Are we going to create Hibernate with a web application project or with a core Java project in a core Java? So here, follow this. Those who are not doing it now, they have the recording, they have the lab sequence. Please try it in the lab. Of course, I'll be joining and I'll help you wherever required. So let me follow the instructions. Open that lab sequence. I'm literally going to follow step by step. So first step is change the perspective from web to Java. Can you see here? Top right corner, change it to Java. Perspective is not a big deal at all. I'm not talking about life's perspective. I'm talking about ID's perspective here. So here it is just a change of look and feel. That's it. So even if you keep it in J2E, it is fine. Now, next step. So you read this. I will tell you directly. So now what is it we are going to create is a Maven project. So click on this drop-down list. The first one is a Java project. Skip that. Go to the next one, Maven project. Reach here. Tell me, keep telling me, acknowledging those who are trying parallelly. I would recommend all of you try so that your Maven dependencies, Hibernate jars will get downloaded. So here, we don't want to, there are something called as archetypes. Currently we are skipping the archetypes. Click on create simple project. I hope I'm going enough slow. So that archetype selection I'll discuss later and see next. Now there are a couple of things for you to fill up. So there is a concept called as a group ID, artifact ID. It is group ID is nothing but the name of the organization, or to be precise, you know, the DNS, domain name for the organization you are working. Currently, we have nothing. I mean, jobless. So I'm just giving com.demo or anything you can say. So suppose you are working for a company demo.com or app.com, anything. So just give the group ID. It's a reverse domain name. So for example, developers.com. So it is com.developers that way. Artifact ID, more details I will produce. We will provide when I actually take you to Maven one of these days. Artifact ID is nothing but the project which you are going to create. So I'll stick with my thing. So let me call it as day 9 Hibernate. Okay, you can call it as day 9 Hibernate class. This is nothing but a versioning. This has nothing to do with your Git. The GitHub and GitLab and all is different. This is for local versioning. This has nothing to do with remote repositories. Since it is a core Java project, we are going to create it as a jar. So don't change that. And the artifact ID and the project name, typically we keep the same. So it can be different, but typically the same. And description is going to be a simple Hibernate. I'll give the description, Hibernate-based Java SE, core Java. This is not a web app. Web app we will integrate later. Hibernate-based Java SE. For basic most we have is CRUD. Once your CRUD is done, then I can take you to relationships, associations, inheritance, and all those things. So Hibernate-based Java SE for CRUD. CRUD is the basic thing you have to master. So has everyone got this? What I'll do is I'll take a screenshot. Or okay, I don't think you require a screenshot. Do you require a screenshot to be added? Other guys who are not doing it currently, not required. Good response. Okay, so all I have added is a group ID, artifact ID, packaging I never changed, name and some description. All you have is finish. So this will create your first Maven project in our workspace. It is going to have a red cross. Don't worry about it. So expand. So if you expand, I don't think you should feel very different. You have got SRC main Java already added. And oh, sorry. Look at this. My mistake. My bad. Day 9 Hibernate. My problem. So the wrong project I had opened. Day 9 Hibernate. SRC main Java is known. Additionally, there is a resources folder to add our configuration files, which we will do. And soon means with Spring Boot or maybe before, I don't know, like time dependent. I'm going to show you how to write the test cases. JUnit, I mean unit test cases, integration test cases. You will further expand it in your other module, the Git module and all that. But I'll definitely show you some things. So coming back to the point, this is what we have. But if you observe, this JRE system library is ancient. Who wants to work in J2SE 1.5? We don't. Our Java version is 11. So now please follow the next instruction. I'm sorry for extending this, but I want people to use the break to download the dependencies. So let me go a little faster. So we have done this currently. Now, so this will, okay, sorry. I forgot to show you. There is a heart of Maven is one configuration file, which is project object model, standing for POM. Okay, so this is your pom.xml, and currently it is all empty. In short, this is equivalent to Maven is equivalent to your npm, and pom.xml is equivalent to your package.json. So take a look at it and tell me, are there any dependencies here or no dependencies currently? Can you see any dependencies here? Absolutely not. So that is what we are going to fix. So some cases, some things I'm giving you ready-made. This will only, that ready-made help you require only till I take you to Spring Boot. With Spring Boot, again, automatic. So let me not divert. Open day 9 help, Hibernate help, configuration files. Found that? Response. Open pom.xml. And now do it little carefully. This is taken from my earlier project. So now till description, our Maven tool has already generated. Simply copy the build tag onwards. So which tags you are going to copy? This is just a copy. I don't expect you to make mistakes. Build. There is a build plugin, Maven plugin for building our whatever project. Here is where I'm changing the JDK to 11. Later, you can change it to 16, 17, whichever is the stable version. The final name will change. This was for earlier. And here is where I'm mentioning all the dependencies which are required. So guys, I don't want to delay too much. Already I have delayed. So please copy everything after the description tag. Apply your sense, common sense. Don't do it blindly. This also can be built up, but takes a lot of time. I'll show you one day I've just built it up from that Maven Central repository. So till what you are going to copy? Copy till the closing of the dependencies tag. Don't add that project tag. Project tag is already done. Simply copy paste and paste it under the description tag. Don't make a mess in XML. XML is all sequence and all that. So here, don't say save yet. Give me time. Give me a minute. So just, you can say Control Shift F. So you should see after the description, a build tag. This is your build tool. Maven plugin. Basically compilation. Change the final name to whatever is the project name. So let's say, here, this is not compulsory, but this is the name of the jar file it will produce. So keep it all consistent. There is a later one, 5.6.3, but this is a stable version. So in short, don't change anything. We have already got MySQL connector. That is fine. All the dependencies, it will pull in. See, what it does is, it connects to something called as Maven Central Repository, and it starts downloading all the required dependencies. Plus, it will also change this JDK version from 1.5 to 11. So now simply say save. And if you see where my cursor is, bottom right corner, there will be a progress bar. Double click on, I can't show you because my dependencies, my M2 repository, my Maven repository is already downloaded. Are you seeing that progress bar? Quick yes or no. So double click on that progress bar and tell me, is it downloading the dependencies from the net? This is like your NPM install, guys. Okay, so now enjoy your breakfast break. Let it get downloaded completely, and we'll meet in hours time around 11:20. That will be all. What else you want me? Okay, I'll share that zip file, the one which we were developing, CMS. So I'm giving you day, which one was that? Day 9.1 was that. So that in case you want to work on it, you can. Zip file. And here, I can't show the progress bar. My progress is already done. My download dependencies are already downloaded in Manchu. I'll tell you where it is. See my cursor, bottom right corner. How can I show the progress bar if it is already done? So, talk to each other. Take friend's help. There are not too many dependencies, but it takes quite a, couple of minutes. Day 9.1 I'm sending. Okay. Of course, it has to download the dependencies. Oh, you're having a problem in creating project. All those things we will help you in the lab session. Those who can finish can come back with Hibernate dependencies downloaded. Others will help you. I'll make a statement here. You log off from the Zoom call. Let me finish. But because you require a good net speed. If you have connected using mobile data and all, it will definitely matter. Guys, I'm not answering, taking individual questions. Try to work it out. What I'll do is, I will also send you this project. I'll make a zip of it. The project which has been created. So try to match it. See where you have made a mistake. Day 9 Hibernate also I'm sending you. Help each other. Some of you have not lagged behind. So guys who have done it, help them. Help each other. And see you all again. I've given you day 9 Hibernate zip with a proper populated pom.xml. And so you can pick up if you have messed up something. And see, after the whole downloading is done, the acid test means whether it is done or not. Here, I'll just refresh it. Actually, it should not have shown anything. Oh, sorry. My mistake. I'm so sorry. So after you're downloading, see, somebody was asking Himanshu, for example, there is a progress bar. After that, still, whatever changes you have done in pom.xml may not get applied. So last minute, right click on the project. You can write it down somewhere if the dependencies are getting downloaded. Right click on the project. You will see a Maven option. I'm going to repeat everything in the lab session for a new project creation, but not in the theory session. And do you see a do you see an option update project? So click on that. It will ask you which update. We've got in the workspace only one Maven project. So day9 Hibernate. Okay. And after that, you should see asset test. Asset test means confirmation test. You should see your Java SE 5 change to Java SE 11. And when you expand this Maven dependencies, so many jars you require. Typically, that Hibernate related jars are main, and Hibernate has the dependency upon other jars. So all of this will be downloaded. So as a proof of, as a confirmation, you should not see any red crosses. You should see the Maven dependencies downloaded, and you should see the Java SE version updated. So give it a try. Log off from Zoom. If it does, because if it does the partial downloading, then you have a problem. Then again, I'll give you the troubleshooting tips in the today's lab session. But if it is last step, I've sent Mohammed already day 9.1. You missed it. You take it from one of your friends. So what is it? Yeah, last step. Last step, right click, Maven, and update project. So that will sync up all the changes you have done in pom.xml to the project and try it out. If it doesn't work, we will definitely help you in the lab session. That will be all. See you at, okay, some more thing, 11:20, 11:25. Let's make it 11:25. Okay, give it a try.